Australia will be involved in a contribution to the Middle East peace plan, but with one liaison officer. Let's go to Pauline Hanson now, the One Nation leader. She joins us from Hobart. Thanks for joining us, Pauline. First up, your reaction to that breaking news. It seems significant that Australia would have any involvement in the peace plan for Gaza, but one liaison officer sounds like the minimal possible contribution. I'd like to know what we were asked to contribute.
Exactly right, Chris. I'm amazed by it. This is the first time that I've heard about this. So anyway, one liaison officer, hope they're not over there lining them up to actually sign them up to bring them back out here to Australia. So I hope it is just if they want to keep an eye on it, if it's been asked by the Trump administration to be part of it. I think it's minuscule. I think it's a nothing thing. So anyway, my opinion is we shouldn't be getting involved over there. I don't want to see any military personnel or anyone, peacekeepers over there from Australia.
I'll ask former Foreign Minister Alexander Downer what he thinks about this in a moment. But, Pauline, I want to ask you more about domestic issues and Barnaby Joyce. When's the last time you spoke to him and how close are you to getting him on board with One Nation?
I spoke to him last Sunday, I think it was. Sunday? Yeah, Saturday or Sunday it was. We had a phone hook up after all this hit the media and, you know, saying that he's going to come across and be leader of the party. It's not going to happen, Chris. He's not going to be leader of the party. So that's totally out of the question. The fact is that before that I spoke to him last sitting of Parliament. So it's been about six weeks ago since I last spoke to him. So anyway, the decision, I've made the offer to Barnaby. I know he's disgruntled with the National Party. I know he's passionate about getting rid of net zero. He's introduced his bill to Parliament. He doesn't expect to get support. And I'm telling you, the Nats are being dragged along with this because they know they're in dire straits with Barnaby considering walking, plus the members of their party wanting to walk because they're fed up with net zero. The coalition will not go along with it. So it's going to be interesting how this unfolds.
Now, if Barnaby wanted to stay in politics, obviously One Nation would be a pretty good fit. A senator for New South Wales would help you and would probably be doable for him. Is there any other option? Have you discussed the possibility of lower house seats or the Queensland Senate?
No. Not at all, Chris. The fact is he's not even a member of the party. He has to make that choice himself to finally make the decision. Is he going to come across the One Nation? He did want to see if he got his bill up in the Parliament, which, you know, it hasn't been debated yet. And it's quite interesting to see where this is going to go. So anyway, just to put people's fears, one woman said to me today on the plane, she said, it's great that Barnaby's come across, but please do not make him leader. You have to be there. So that was nice to hear. But it's about a team.
It is nice to hear, but people are thinking about what would happen when you retire. At some stage you have to retire, Pauline. But at some stage, it can't be Pauline Hanson's One Nation party. At some stage, someone has to lead it.
Totally agree with you, Chris. I'm not that stupid. I haven't got an ego that big. My attitude is if someone can do a better job than I can, fair enough, and to do it. But don't write me off at the moment.
No one's writing you off. I'm just suggesting that Barnaby would be a significant enough figure to carry on that load after you retired, if he did come across, right?
Well, it's all open, isn't it? So whoever proves themselves and it can make a good leader for the party and make sure that we're getting our policies and what we want to do for the Australian people and represent them and make the other two political parties accountable. That's all, Chris, that's all down the track, OK? I'm not here having a discussion about that.
All right, well, what's a bit closer is the Coalition and the Liberals having meetings to try and bed down their net zero, their climate and energy policy. Do you think that, depending on how that goes, it might shake out a few more defectors from those parties?
Look, isn't it funny that Susan Lee said that would be about 12 months down the track after the election? Well, we forced their hand to have that meeting now to see where is the lay of the land as far as their energy policy and net zero. Now, I'm really not impressed with Susan Lee, who says, look, I'm not going to turn up the meeting. Chris, I went to the meeting prior to the last election to meet with their advisors and policy direction. I actually was instrumental in, you know, giving them my input into policy. They're on a real issue now with possibly members of the coalition walking away, and she can't even go there to listen to their concerns and look at a policy direction where they want to move forward. So she's a failure here as far as a leader.
Thanks so much for joining us again, Pauline. I appreciate it.